In Ukraine currently we have a Israel-Hamas conflict, we have hotspots also in Taiwan, so instead of things like that we should more focus on cultural diplomacy, things and values that we all have in common. And if there's more cultural diplomacy, if there's more dialogue between countries, if there's more focused on things that connect us, maybe all those things, wars and other bad things happening currently would fail and let's say, it will go in other direction.
Hello, Mr. Davor Filipovic. Thank you for joining here us at the ICD Academy for Cultural Diplomacy. It's a pleasure to have you here in Berlin. We'd like to ask you a few questions in order to hear your thoughts about cultural diplomacy and related fields. And the first question is, how would you find cultural diplomacy, and what is cultural diplomacy for you?
Well, we can see cultural diplomacy as a process in which one country tries to show its cultural heritage, to promote herself to other countries by showing her art, to showing its literature, to show everything which that country is known for. And by doing that, it can enhance its positions toward other countries. And the cultural diplomacy can be seen also as a set of actions where countries try to promote themselves in order to focus on common values, which can in the end enhance democracy and peace. So that's the way how I see it. I mean, this also here event, this World Forum on Peace and Democracy, is one of the ways how cultural diplomacy is working, because we could all see former presidents, former prime ministers, former ministers, and we could see their thoughts and ideas on crucial issues and challenges which the world is facing currently, and all of them talked a little bit about their countries, all of them promoted a little bit their countries and what is good and what is their cultural heritage and what of course are issues and how to solve them together. It's very important now, because when you see what's happening in the world, every once in a while there is a new problem in the world. We have interstate conflicts, we have Russian aggression on Ukraine currently, we have a Israel-Hamas conflict, we have hotspots also in Taiwan. So instead of things like that, we should more focus on cultural diplomacy, things and values that we all have in common. And if there's more cultural diplomacy, if there's more dialogue between countries, if there's more focused on things that connect us, maybe all those things, wars and other bad things happening currently would fail and let's say, it will go in other direction. As an academia always helps to all fields to grow and to prosper, and it's very important to have cultural diplomacy also as a field, academic field, because when you do research, when other countries get into that field, new findings can help enhance cultural diplomacy. And what is from my perspective, the main aim of cultural diplomacy is to contribute to peace and democracy. So the more research is done by academics, the field will grow and it will help with new findings to enhance everything about peace and democracy. We have several institutions that take care of the Croatian culture. We have in our government, we have Ministry for Culture and Media, so they take care of the cultural events. They take care of the things that happen outside of Croatia, how we promote our country. I'm pretty sure that you know that Croatia is homeland of Thais, so we like to point that out usually when we go and speak about our culture. But we also have institutions like Matica Hrvatska, which is protecting Croatian values and Croatian cultures and try to promote it in the world. We have beautiful environment in Croatia, several national parks, namely Brijuni is one of the national parks where our presidents gathered, where ton of important political decisions were made, and it also has a historical heritage, so a lot of people go visit. We can promote that around the world, so let's say, in the short words, we have several institutions taking care of the cultural diplomacy in Croatia. Of course, our Ministry for Foreign Affairs also. It's very important to encourage them, and I was also a part of the government when I had several of my female colleagues within the government, and it was different way talking to them, and it's different way talking to my male colleagues in the government. So they have a specific approach. Sometimes when we look at the things, we look things from different perspective. They are usually more calm, and sometimes they are more diplomatic women than men are. So it's very important to give them big push to engage in politics and in diplomatic dialogue.
Okay, so as you mentioned, you think there is a difference in the leadership style between women and men, right?
Yeah, I think there is, and I've felt it through my work in the politics. So women definitely need to have a space and need to be encouraged to get engaged in politics. But it can. I think that generally, when it comes to politics, I think that all politicians, when we look what's happening in the world currently, we had a assassination attempt on the former President Trump. We had shot in Slovakian Prime Minister Fico. In 2020, there was a terrorist attack on Croatian government. There was a guy shooting, and he wounded the police officer. And all of that are examples of political violence. And I think the politicians need to, let's sportsly say it, to step on the ball and not to use the narrative they usually use, which is offending other people, usually not having any limits. And all of that can pour to people, and of course unwanted events can happen. Why I mentioned this bad narrative that can be seen all around the world from politicians, because it scares away people generally from politics and scares away also women. So let's say normal way of speaking, normal way of behaving coming from politicians should enhance all populations to get involved more in politics, and of course women. I think when we look at the situation globally, we have the recession of democracy values all around the world. If you take a look at the varieties of democracy report, you can see there that 70% of world's population lives in autocratic countries, and the rest lives in democratic countries. And for last 15 years, more countries are becoming autocratic and less countries are becoming democratic. So we have tendencies toward autocratic countries. And what we need to do everything to preserve core values of peace and democracy, because I think the only way we can, not the only way we can do it, but it's very important to protect the free speech, to protect minorities all around the world. It's very important to think about demographic challenges, because they are highly influencing also peace and democracy. We have trends in migration. We have to have legal migrations, organized migrations. We need to take care of the elderly people. We have to think about how to enhance democracy, because unfortunately Europe is getting older, and our society, when I say our society, I think about European Union. The more people get wealthier, the less children they have. So, and the more conformist they become. So we need to find a way to reverse that negative trend of getting more children in Europe. And we need to put all our ideas on the same desk, let's say it like that, and push towards solving those problems. We have issues with climate change. It all affects also the peace and democracy. We have movement from people from places where you have droughts. There's no much arable land. It all creates tension. So it's a complex situation when it comes to the position of democracy in the world. You have artificial intelligence issues, adverse effects of artificial intelligence. It can all also badly influence upcoming elections if AI is not treated well. We have deep fake situations which can also influence elections. So there's a vast variety of things that needs to be taken care of in order for the democracy to grow and peace to prosper in the world today. The situation in Croatia is very well, I can say. All democratic norms in Croatia are existing. There is no issue with anything that can endanger currently democracy in Croatia, and especially I have to point out what Croatian government did and what I as a minister did when the biggest energy crisis hit Europe. It was when the Russian aggression on Ukraine started. We did a lot of measures in order to keep social cohesion. We limited prices of gas, of electricity, of oil. We limited prices of a big number of products in the retail. And we did not have any protests within the country because we wanted to help our citizens. So we didn't have any societal, let's say, tensions, and because it was all big mutual governmental, how can I say, decision to go in that direction. So that's the way how we kept our society cohesion in Croatian society, and that's the way we protected also a democracy, because we did not have any civil unrest at all. So I think that's the way that democracy can be protected, by opening up economic opportunities, by raising salaries, and by letting people, by protecting minorities, also by letting other opinions to be heard. All of that is present in Croatia, and I'm pretty sure it will stay like that in future. What should be done? It's a complex question, but as I told you, there are several things that are endangering peace and democracy. I mentioned artificial intelligence. There's a need for European Union to see how to put in control the adverse effects of artificial intelligence, which can negatively influence on democratic processes, and at the same time it should find a way to let AI develop in order to help European Union's industry to grow at the same level as it happens in the United States and China. European Union has to put also the strong, how can I say it, strong pressure on how to change demographic trends in Europe. That is one of the key issues in the whole European Union. The spread of mis and disinformation has to be taken care of also. So those are the things that have to be in the focus of European Union, because all of those things have negative and adverse impact on peace and democracy. Gridocracy is something that I like to talk about. It's a situation when, especially in times of crisis, big companies use that time in order to increase their profit margins and to profit over the back of the citizens, and that is also not good. So European Union should do some things about that in order to protect peace and democracy. Croatia was always on the same line with the European politics when it needs to help other countries. Croatia gave big help to Ukraine all this time when Russia attacked Ukraine, and we will continue giving that help. And I have to point out that during this big energy crisis, Croatia was one of the few European countries that showed solidarity to neighboring countries. We signed a contract with Slovenia in which we say, I will simple that contract, that if Slovenia is left out of the gas, that Croatia will help them to give gas over the LNG terminal which we have on the island of Krk, that we will help Slovenia, which is our neighboring countries. And I think all solidarity moves like that, what we did, is something that should enhance democracy and of course enhance peace on the European soil.
Thank you so much for your time and your insights on this aspect.
Thank you very much.